You're throwing away a fortune now. Don't be a fool. Hello everyone, and welcome to another episode of Zareth Prevails. Folks, we are venturing into the realm of math. We wanted, people have been asking about turn meter versus percent speed gain and the different formulas for it. So I'm going to show you guys how that all works. I'll show you the formulas. I'm just going to try to explain the concept of it, though it's not, it's not even necessary. As long as you can do the math, you get the formulas, then that's all you really need. But of course, I like to show people why I do things, like the how of them. It's not just like the formula. I like to, because then they can troubleshoot and leave me the hell alone, essentially. But it's an important thing, guys. Galaxy of Heroes has a lot of these equations, especially at the top end. If you want to figure out how fast you are in relation to your opponent, like a lot of times in GAC, territory wars, etc., it's going to be very important that you go before your opponent, or at least understand the implications if that happens. And so I'm going to show you guys a few examples. It's going to be wonderful. You're going to love it. And if you do, once you do decide you love it, please don't remember, guys, hit that thumbs up button, leave a comment in the comment area. It's going to be wonderful. So I would just preemptively do it if I were you. Just a little taparoo, you know? So let's do it, guys. Speed versus turn meter gain. I made all these slides on my phone, if you can't tell. So I just didn't have time for any fancy Photoshop stuff this time. But these formulas are fairly simple. So the thing you need to remember, guys, speed you multiply, turn meter you divide. It's different processes and different reasons for it, but that's going to be the core of it. Like that's how I remember it, is, you know, speed. If you gain percent speed, you multiply, turn meter you divide. Speed gain is the easiest to remember because you're just tacking some extra speed onto a character, so you just have to modify it just a little bit here, guys. So we're going to take an example from Senior Rex. Some people call him Sexy Rexy because it rhymes and it annoys people, which I think are both pretty valid reasons, if we're being honest. But Rex gives himself and all the 501st allies 4% extra speed. So for each ally, so it's not just going to be 4%. It's going to be 20%, or maybe 12%, maybe 8%, depending on what the speed composition is. Remember, this is a leadership ability. We'll talk about whether what to do against versus leaderships and uniques, what the turn order is, the order of operations. We'll go over that, but for now, we'll just assume that this is the only speed gain that's going to be happening for this squad. So plus 28% if all of them are 501st. So you're taking 100% of his speed, and you're taking 20% more speed, and you're combining it. You're turning both of those percentages into numbers. So 100% is just a 1.0, and 20% is therefore 0.2. 1.2, the new Rex speed is going to be 300 times 1.2. It's 360, guys. He is moderately fast. Not that fast, really, compared to a lot of things today. I mean, my Bad Batch are faster than that. Everyone's faster. At the top end anyway. So that's why you need a faster Rex, but we're not talking about strategy here. That's how you calculate speed. Pretty easy, guys. Just take the percentage, turn it into a number, add it to the 1, which is your full speed anyways, and multiply it by your base speed. Easy enough. There's the formula, guys. Now, as far as turn meter goes, folks, this is a little bit tricky. So here's the thing: if someone's giving turn meter to everyone else, think of it like this. Think of it as a race. Okay, so everyone wants to get to 100. Everyone wants to get to the finish line. 100 is the finish line. That's the end. That's the end goal. Everyone wants to get there. And so so let's say you have a bunch of children and you decide to line them up and have them have a race. And so you say ready, set, go. Some of them are faster than others. They're going to race ahead and get to the finish line faster, right? That's just the inevitable truth. Some kids are faster than others. And however, let's say you want to be a little bit unfair. Let's say you just want to be CG for a minute and give some kids a head start. Let's say that some of these kids have kits that give them a starting advantage with turn meter. You're going to be placing some of these kids a little closer to the finish line than others. That doesn't mean they're necessarily going to get to the finish line. They're not going to get to that final turn before everyone else, but it means that they have a head start. And so, you know, if you give 15% turn meter to some kid, you set him 15% closer to the finish line, there might be some big kid who just overpowers them, goes faster, but that little kid is a significant advantage. He only has to go 85% of the way that everyone else does. And if someone gains 30% turn meter, then they only have to go 70% of the way everyone else goes. And so what you're doing is trying to find a value that's going to be equivalent to the speed that you're going to start at comparatively. And so it's like you gain a bunch of turn meter. It's like a Galactic Legend. They're all 500-ish speed, right, after mods and everything. And so even if you put a really fast character in there and you're like, wow, okay, you gained, you know, you gain 40% turn meter. That's pretty good. A lot of times the Galactic Legend is still just fast enough to be able to overpower and just outspeed, but sometimes not. So I'm going to show you guys how to do that. And then what happens if they get to 100 at the same time? Let's say that someone takes a turn, and then one group gains, jumps in and gains a bunch of turn meter. Another group or another character gains a bunch of turn meter as well. Who's going to win that tiebreaker? I'll show you guys. So, turn meter. How close to 100% turn meter are you? Droid ally. This is a BB-8 example, folks. I didn't do the Rex example. I should have done the form up example just to make it all one squad, but I wasn't fancy. I didn't think of that. I did think about making this on my phone, though. How fancy is that? So, let's see. BB-8. Droid allies gain 8% turn meter for each active droid ally. So that means if you're with 5 total droids, that means you get 40% turn meter, which is a lot, actually. My General Grievous at 270 speed actually starts at 450 speed. So there's that. So yeah, droid allies gain 8% turn meter. That's pretty cool. So, and I'll show you a better example than this slide, guys, in just a minute. So if BB-8 has 300 speed with one more droid, so like R2-D2 or something, they're getting 16% turn meter. So you take that 16% turn meter, you turn it into a number, and you subtract it from 1, and then you divide your speed by this, and you get a weird number. Let's break it down just a little bit better, though. So turn meter, you take the percent turn meter gain and turn it into a number. Like I said, so you gain 16% on this BB-8 example. 16% turn meter, you turn it into a number, it's 0.16. Just turn that, you take the percentage, you put a decimal there before the first 2 digits, and you're good to go. So the next one, take that percentage and subtract it from 1. That's, 1 is your 100% turn meter. So you're at 0.84, you're 16% closer than anyone else to taking a turn. So then you divide your speed by that result. So BB-8's 300 speed, you divide it by 0.84, and you come up with this 357.14. Now this is important, folks, because if someone has a speed advantage on you, if they have a 357 speed character, you are still going to get there beforehand because you're going to cross the line at the same time, but you're going to be there a little bit faster. That 0.14 for turn meter actually is relevant because you have the thing called turn meter overflow, where you earn, your relative turn is based on at what point you are, like how long you've been accumulating turn meter. So like Imperial Troopers, for instance, they'll all be like sitting at 100% turn meter, but they'll still go in turn order because some of them have more turn meter overflow that they've accumulated over the time, and they'll be able to actually, that way it's not just random. Someone isn't just sitting there and waiting to go and waiting to go and waiting to go, and it's just like all of just this weird coin flip. So that's how it used to be. Now, it's better now, guys. So, this 357.14, that matters for turn meter gain because of turn meter overflow. If it's for speed, the decimals, you just round down, and that's what your speed is going to be. So, that's, let's just move on. That's turn meter gain, guys. I mean, you divide it by you just subtract it by 1. You subtract 1 by your decimal, and you're good. Divide by speed. You guys try it. It works. I promise it does. If it doesn't make sense, I tried. I did. I don't want to ramble too long. So, alright, something that I've gotten to debates with people on before, and it's like, well, I don't know why you're debating this, but okay. Jedi Knight Revan and Jedi Basti, like, assuming you're 300 speed, we're just using that as an example to make it a little bit easier. So Basti gives all Jedi 15% turn meter, whereas Jedi Knight Revan gives people an additive bonus based on how many characters are in a squad or Jedi in Old Republic. So Basti actually she does even better in 3v3 as opposed to 5v5, where Jedi Knight Revan gets to add 2 to his number. But one way or another, let's say that Jedi Knight Revan gets plus 35 speed because he has, a good mix of Old Republic and Jedi, and not to be confused with Democrat Jedi. Just kidding. Not to bring politics into this at all, folks. But I thought it wasn't even that funny. But okay, so Jedi Revan is going to, he'll be the character that's on a squad is going to end up, they'll start with 300 speed, they're going to go up to 335. But Basti, with her 15% turn meter gain, I'll let you guys do the math here if you want. She's going to end up being 352.94 speed. So, she's actually significantly faster, and you can actually use that if you're not against. Remember, HK is going to shut that down because you're going to have bonus protection and everything. There's a number of characters that just shut down turn meter gain. Like Hux will shut it down, Jedi Master Kenobi will shut it down, etc. So you're gonna need to keep that in mind when you're planning this. But unless there's HK on the squad, then you're gonna be able to. You're going to be able to have Basti go faster than Jedi Revan almost every time, folks. Now, here's the order of operations. When there's a speed boost on both the lead and on the unique, it's worthwhile to note that the uniques are applied first. So, Peplu, in this instance, he has that cool thing where he gets plus 25% speed. That's his unique. But now with Chirpa, with his Omicron, he gives all Ewoks plus 30 speed. So it's important because the math changes if you do it the wrong order of operations. You're going to end up thinking you have a faster Peplu than you have. So you want to apply your speed, your speed to Peplu. So he's 300 speed base. He's going to go 0.125. That's he'll get a little faster. Whatever. That's his 25 bonus speed. It's not turn meter gain, and then you add 30 to that total, which is going to be 405. You guys can do the math if you want. It's fun. Now, bonus turns are completely different than turn meter gain. I know that it can be confusing, but when it says something like you take a bonus turn at the start of each encounter, you take a bonus turn when this, when that, that means like there's nothing to do with turn meter here. Like they could have 0 turn meter, they can have a billion turn meter in the overflow. If they meet the criteria, they just take a turn. So like Jedi Master Kenobi doesn't stop bonus turns. Hux doesn't stop bonus turns. No one that I'm aware of actually stops bonus turns yet. That'll be something that ends up happening in the future, I'm guessing. But bonus turns are a great loophole to be able to, it's like when a Padme squad, you can't gain bonus turn meter in that squad, but there are certain criteria where Anakin is going to be taking bonus turns, and then Padme takes bonus turns, and so the team speeds up. Now keep in mind, if you do turn meter swap, that also bypasses any of the restrictions of being able to gain bonus turn meter. So, if you're going to swap, exchange turn meter, that like Thrawn can just like hand turn meter to people. That's pretty fancy. As opposed to if you have an effect that it says character gains 100% turn meter, that can be different, because if they're gaining turn meter, it can be shut down as opposed to swapping turn meter. Anyways, Han takes a bonus turn. Keep in mind that Han always goes first. His bonus turns are fancier than anyone else's, and that means that if he goes against Watt, or even if they're on the same team, Han will always shoot first, and then Watt will take his bonus turn, and then if all else fails, Iden would probably be the next one because she gains 100% turn meter at the start of the match. So that's it, guys. That's how you calculate it. I hope this helped. Let me know what you think in the comments. Thank you all so much for watching, and remember that in all things, Xaereth prevails.